Hello, today we are playing Old School Tactical Volume 1, Eastern Front 1941-42, a game designed by Shayne Logan and published by Flying Pig Games. We are playing the second scenario that is called Irons in the Fire. It's a training scenario that teaches us about tank-to-tank combat. So, here we have the scenario in the campaign book. It is played from these two map edges right to the west of the whole map. There are no control hexes here. There's a special rule that the Russian tanks have -1 to the DRM, the dice roll modifier. And Germans, the victory condition is that the Germans must destroy or immobilize all the Russian tanks, and the Russians have to basically deny this. This scenario is played over 4 turns. So if at least one Russian tank survives, it is not immobilized, the Russians win. The Germans have a very good gut check of 7, and they have 1d6 plus 4 impulse points. And the Russians have a gut check of 9 and 2d6 impulse points. Okay, let's take a look at the tanks. The German side, we have 3 Panzerkampfwagen 38. They have to come in on this hex on the road, and we have 2 Panzerkampfwagen 3, Panzer 3, and they have to enter the map on this road here, and one of these Panzer 3 have a leader. The German tanks, let's take a look at them. Okay, let's take a look at the Panzer 1. It has AP firepower of 3 and 2, and can only fire 10 hexes, and it has a front defense of 3 and a flank defense of 1. This is one of the weakest tanks that the German have. So let's take a look at the Panzer 3. They have a firepower of 3 to 1, and they can fire 12 hexes, and they have front defense of 4 and a flank defense of 3, which is the best of any tank here right now in this scenario. So for the Russian side, we have the BA-10. This tank has a very weak defense, only 2 front defense and 1 flank defense, but has a firepower of 3 to 1 and can also fire 12 hexes. We have the T-28 with very, very weak firepower of 2-1 and can only fire 10 hexes, but it has a front defense of 3 and a flank defense of 2. And we got the T-26 with a P firepower of 3 to 1, also can fire 12 hexes with a front defense of 3 and a flank defense of 1. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about the strategy in this game. What will the Russians, what will the Germans do? Since the Russians need to survive, they want to hide their weakest vehicle here, the BA-10. They want to hide him as long as possible between these buildings here, the building block line of sight, so the German tanks can't shoot him unless they come from one of the sides. And this thing is also very quick, with movement of 8. If the Germans are on the approach, maybe they can just flee. The other tanks wants to try to intercept the German tanks. They want to get into the best position where they can get the most cover and fire, or try to stop the German vehicles. Since this scenario have a -1 dice roll modifier on the 2 hit rolls for the Russians, it is in Russian favor to try tank duels. When you go, the tank duel is basically a melee combat for tanks, and When you are in a tank duel, you don't need a hit roll. So the special rule is negated, and they have a well, they have a better chance to kill a German tank in a tank duel. The Germans, yeah, it's relatively clear what they need to do. They need to rush as fast as possible forward and kill every Russian tank on site. Their most powerful tank is the Panzer III with the leader. And yeah, they basically need to react on the Russians and rush as fast as possible to the east. 4 turns is not very much. And if the Russians play smart, they will hide the tanks. Okay, let's take a quick look at the vehicle combat rules. In the last video, we already discussed the infantry combat table. Now we will use mainly the vehicle combat table. It functions the same principle like the infantry combat table, but it does not have a casualty combat result, and it has a D for damage roll. When you roll a D, you roll on the damage roll. It is a 1d6, and yeah, the higher the better. On a 6, you basically destroy the vehicle. Abandoned roll means that the vehicle is abandoned, but the crew flees from the battlefield, and you only get 1 victory point for this. And a 5, you immobilize, which in this scenario is enough for the Germans to secure the victory. Yes. However, the big difference between infantry combat and vehicle combat is that vehicles first have to make a hit roll. And let's take example like tank. They have a 2-hit roll. Like on this range, you have 0 to 5 axis, you have a 6, on 6 to 10, you have a 7, and an 11 to 12 axis, you need to roll an 8 or less. And there are also 2-hit modifiers. And there's also this special rule in this scenario. There's the Russians get a -1 on this roll, which is big because rolling an 8 or rolling a 9 is in this game is with 2d6 is very big. Okay. There are also a lot of modifiers to the hit roll. We will take a look at this when as we play the game. Oh, and there's another rule. When you roll a 12 on the hit roll, you got a critical hit, and you shift your FP 1 column to the right, so you get a better result. When you do the hit roll, when you hit successfully, then you roll on the normal vehicle combat table and see what result you have. Okay, so much to the rules. So let's start the game.
Operation Barbarossa is launched. Tank-on-tank action occurs all along the front. In this small fight, German tanks tangle with a surprise group of Soviet light armor.
We are rolling for initiative. And the Russians have won. And now we are rolling for the impulse points. Oh, spinner. Okay, the Germans have 5 plus 4, this is 9, and the Russians have 7. Since the Russians have fewer impulse points than the Germans, they will pass to see what the Germans do first. It's because when you have fewer impulse points than your opponent, you don't lose an impulse point from passing. So the Germans spend 1 impulse point, and they bring their first Panzer in game. This Panzer 1 has 6 movement points. On the street, it only counts as half movement. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He goes right here. The Russians spend 1 impulse point, and they move this T-26 here. It can move 7, and the Russians want to take this forest here, so they have very good cover here. So he drives forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he can't get in this forest yet because for a tracked vehicle, there's 3 movement points to move into the forest. And they also risk getting immobilized, which is very dangerous. But they have very good cover in there. Okay, this was a Russian tank. Now back to the Germans. The Germans will move in their first Panzer III and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't go here. This is the 23 is the last hex of the button, so I can't go here. I'm right now here, and the Russian tank can't see me, and they also can fire at me, but it's a very, very hard shot. Now I have to correct myself. They can't see him here because these things here are brushes, and they also degrade line of sight. So it would be 1, 2, 3 degrading line of sight, and the maximum you can have of degrading line of sight are 2. So they can't shoot each other right now. Okay, back to the Russians. Okay, the Russians will move their T-26, and they will try to get in good cover. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, okay, back to the Germans. The Germans will bring their second Panzer III, and with the leader, and he will do the exact same thing as the first. They both are on the same field now. Okay, now the Russians. The Russians will move this T-26 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will go in this position, which they have very good cover from the front and because of this hedge, and they are kind of safe because of this forest from these tanks. Okay, now are the Germans. The Germans bring their next Panzer. 1, 2, 3, 1/2, 4, 5. No, they want to go. Oh, the Germans have to take care because this Russian tank, the 26, can now opportunity fire. And of course, the Germans don't want to get opportunity fired from the side. So he would probably, he can't do this here. Maybe he could do it here, but it would be a very far shot. He will wait till he comes nearer. 1, 2, 3, and the Germans need 4, 5, and here the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here the Russian tank will opportunity fire the Panzer. So the Russians spend 1 input points for opportunity fire, and they fire with this T-26 here on the German Panzer. I put a 5 here to remember myself that this tank was driving 5 hexes, and he still have 1 hex to go. if the Russian don't hit him. So the Russians have on range 5, they hit on a 7. They have already moved. This is 8, and the special rule for the Russians, -1 die roll modifier, this is a 9. So the Russians need a 9. Oh, almost a critical, not bad. Okay, no reroll on the vehicle combat table. The strength of the Russian tank is at this range is 3. The defense of the German tank, the German Panzer, on the front is also 3. So we have a 0, but the Russian tank has moved and he gets one moving fire modifier of -1. So we roll on the -1. And we got a 7 on the -1. This is maybe a shaken. German need to make their guts roll. Oh, they've failed. They've 7 gut rolls, so the German Panzer is shaken and he stops his movement. Also, because the Russian have shot at the German tank, the tanks get an acquired marker, and the Russian tanks get an acquiring marker. It means here, it means this Russian gets a +1 modifier on the when he takes another shot in this turn on the German, but only the the one that shots the German. So acquiring A goes to acquired A, and it's only last for this turn. So he will probably not use it. He could use it if he fires again with intensifier, which puts him into shaken status. But I think he will not do this. Okay, let's see what's because the Russians have stopped the German movement. The Germans can move again. So it's the Germans' turn again. So they spent 1 impulse point and they move their second tank in, their last tank in, and this time you will go to the exact same place as the first tank, and the Russians don't want to. Theoretically, this tank could opportunity fire with intensifier, but it would be even worse to hit, and that a Russian tank would be in a shaken status after this. It's not worth the try. Okay. Now are the Russians. The Russians, they need to take care of this flank, because if they don't do anything against the Panzer III, they will flank them and take out the T-28 and then the other tanks after this. So the T-28 moves. It moves here in position. It has excellent cover here from the hedge. But the Germans could fire. They would need to fire through 2 of the brushes, but this is a legal shot, and the Germans take it. The Panzer with the lieutenant takes an opportunity fire and fires at the Russian tank. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexes. He would hit on a 7 normally, but he has 2 degrading line of sight. This is a 9. Also, he moved. This is a 10. However, he got an attached leader, So it's a 9. He fires on a 9. Oh, this doesn't count. Oh. This is the final result. When the die flips out, it doesn't count, never. So he hits a Russian with a little bit of luck. However, this will still be a very difficult to hit roll. I mean, firepower roll, because the German tank has a AP firepower of 2. The Russian tank behind the hedge has 3 plus 1. This is 4. So it's a -2. Also, the Panzer moved, and there are 2 degrading line of sight. This is another -3, so we are at -5. But we have a leader, so it's +1, so we are at -4. So we need at least a 9 to shake the Russian tank. We got a 9. Okay. Let's see if it's shaken. Yes, we did at least a shaken. Okay. Okay, normally I would need to put the acquired markers, but this Panzer will not shoot anyway on the Russian tank, so I just don't lay it out. Okay, the Russians have 2 impulse points left. They will activate this T-27, and he will do the exact turn as the other T-26. He will move here and try to keep the ones at bay. Okay, the Germans have 3 impulse points left. They don't have a lot to do. No, they can. They will. The other Panzer III will also fire at the T-28. It's basically the same role as the one with the lieutenant, but it's +1, so it's at 10. No, this is a miss. Okay, it's the last impulse point for the Russians now. The Russians will move this T-28 also in position. They can't allow the Germans to take this flank, so they take this good firing position here. Okay, now the Germans have still 2 impulse points left, and they don't have much options because these tanks didn't see anything. They already fired, and this one could fire, but he's shaken. He first tries to get rid of the shaken status. So he needs a 7. All right, shaken is away. And with the last impulse points, this Panzer will fire at the T-26. This is basic hit 7 on this range and -1 because he was moving. So an 8? No, it's a miss. Okay. So this was turn 1. Let's do a quick summary. No destroyed tanks, no immobilized tanks. We got a few shots here and there, but no losses. The Germans have moved as quickly as possible on both sides. The Russians, as planned, got in position to intercept the Germans. They do not have the best position as they could. Maybe they actually do, because they could not get in this forest anyway. But they didn't activate the BA-10. Oh, they don't need it. He is quite safe here. So let's see what the second turn will bring, and I expect more action and maybe 1 or 2 destroyed tanks. Okay, let's see. First, we got the 3 ready rolls. The Russian tanks tries to remove the shaken status. 7, no. It's still shaken. Okay. Then let's see who has initiative. There are the Russians again. And now let's see how many impulse points we get. Oh, 7 for the Germans and 9 for the Russians. Exact the upper side of the last one. So what are the options for the Russians? They can take this shot. This is a very good shot for both of these tanks. They can take this shot. It's a Panzer IIIs. This is very hard shot because this T-28 is not the best shooter. He shoots on this range at 9, plus the 2 hexes degrading, plus the -1 for the special rule. He hits on 12. So these tanks will wait for the Germans to come, and the Russians start shooting with one of their T-26s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a short range. This is 7 plus 1 for the special rule. This is 8. No, he doesn't hit, but he got the acquired marker. Even if you miss, you got the acquired marker. So the next shot will be with +1. So the Germans' turn. They spend 1 impulse point, and the Panzer fires right back. Because kind of afraid that the next shot with the plus acquiring would hit him. So he has a base value of 7 on this range and no negative modifiers. The hedge do not give degraded because the tank uses it for defense. So it's a 7. Oh, this is it. So the Panzer one have firepower of 3 and Russian T-26 has defense of 3 also, but he gets +1 for the hex. So it's 4, so it's on a -1. So we need at least a 7 for shaken. And we got a 7. Let's see. No, the Russians are not afraid of the shot, but the same as the Russian tank. He gets an acquiring on this tank. Let's just put them over the other so we know that both are acquiring each other. And it's the Russian turn again. So the German hits, but no big damage, only a bit crew trying to shake, but they stand firm. And the Russians, the same T-26 fires again and the German Panzer. And this time he gets +1 bonus from the acquiring. This bonus will basically negate the special modifier of the scenario, so it's a hit on a 7. And he got it right at the 7. Okay. It's 3 firepower versus 3 front defense on a 0. And we need at least a 6 for a shaken. Wow. We got a 12. This is a total kill. The T-26 blows up the Panzer. And this is the first kill of the game. We can take the acquiring markers away. Yeah, and this is not looking good for the Germans. Okay, the Germans will move one of the panzers in this forest here and take this cover. But when they move to the forest, they need to roll for a bug test. They do not need to roll one. Nope. This panzer is not bugged. Do the Russians want to opportunity fire? Yes, why not? The second T-26 starts firing at this panzer. He hits on 7 plus 1, 8. He hits him. But German, the panzer get plus 2 defense in the forest, so he has 5 defense. And Russian tank has 3 firepower, so it's on a -2. This is 7 for a Shayne. It's a 7. Okay. Are the Germans shaken? No, they're not. Okay. However, since he got a result on the shot, the German panzer must stop the movement and the German can activate again. Oh, and I forgot the acquiring marker. This one gets a C and this also gets a C. Yeah, the Germans activate the second panzer. He does the exact same thing because he knows that the Russian tank will not opportunity fire him because he wants to exploit the acquiring marker on the other tank. Are there other tanks that could view him? No, there's a hut in the way, and he can theoretically he can see him. Huh? Let's look at that. No, actually, he can't. The rule says that when the line goes between 2 hexes with terrain, you have to take those more blocking feature. So the forest does more blocking than the plain, and so since the forest is completely blocking, there's no line of sight. Okay. I forgot the block roll. For the Panzer, not a 1, not a 1. Okay. They both moved to the forest. Now the Russians. Oh yes, it's an easy decision. The T-26 fires again at this Panzer that he was already acquiring. This is 7 hits. And again, it's the same. Firepower of 3 against defense of 3 plus the 2 from the forest, so it's -2. And he needs at least a 7. This is a 7. Here he may or may not shake the crew. 6. Oh yes, they fail the gut check and they got shaken. This is a very cool rule that the gut check is never modified, so you don't have to think too much when you roll the gut check. On the other rolls, there are so many modifiers that you have to remember, look up. So this is quite refreshing. Okay, so the Germans got a plan. So Lieutenant Kruger decides the flank is too guarded and Russian tanks in the middle have already fired. They They will surprise them from the flank. Okay, but first, other Panzer 3 will. How much does this tank move? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Hero moves right. Or maybe he goes here so he can shoot him from the back. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we would theoretically this 3 axes are the front, this 3 axes are the back, and when the line goes directly from the side, it's also considered the flank. But we have this hedge here. Also, when we are adjacent, we also get +1 modifier. He moves right up here. Here. So this tank can't see him because of the wood. This tank could see him and do opportunity fire. This tank also could see him and do opportunity fire. Let's see. We do it this way. When the German tank enters this X field, this Russian tank, the T-26, starts to fire because he won't at least stop him at here. You just need a shaken result or something. But this will be a very hard shot. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's on a 9. Do we have... This is a clear line of sight. Huh? No, it's not. Oh, this is 2 hatches. It's an 11. This is madness, but he tries on 11. Ah. No, he misses. So you can do 1 opportunity fire per hex. So he goes into this hex. Next tank fires. This is then not shaken T-28. Oh, I forgot the acquiring. He also fires. He got 8 normal +1 for the special rule. There is no terrain. Yeah, no terrain. This is a 9. No, he also misses. And another acquiring. He got a lot of acquirings. Okay. The Russians. This T-26 can still fire with intensive fire. And I think they will do it because otherwise they will be blown up. So one of the T-26s tries to fire at adjacent Panzer III with intensive fire. This is a hit roll of 7 basic, -1 for the intensive fire and -1 for the special rule, the scenario. So it's a 9. They got it. Okay, now they need to just do a little bit of damage. Okay, this T-26 has 3 firepower. The Panzer III has 4 defense in the front, so it's a -1. It's intensive fire, so it's another -1, so we are at -2. But it's adjacent, so it's +1, so we are again at -1. But we also get a -1 on the dice roll modifier from intensive fire. So we are at -1, but we got -1 on this roll here. No, this is 7 -1. It's a 6 on a -1. This is nothing. Not even a shaken. Okay, I will save the acquiring marker because he can't shoot anyway in this turn. And now the Germans attack with the Panzer III. They shoot the T-26 that has not... I forgot. For intensive fire, this here is shaken. This is a fixed shaken, no, a gut rolls. The Panzer fires at not shaken, the T-26, and he needs 7 because he moved. Oh, this is bad luck for the Germans. No hit. Moment, I was wrong. This was a 6. He gets +1 because he is adjacent. This is a hit. Okay. So, let's see the firepower. The Panzer III has firepower of 3. The defense of the T-26 at the flank is only 1. This is already a +2. He gets a 1 from adjacent. This is a +3. Then on the +3 row, but he gets a -1 from moving fire. So this is 7, but it's 6. 6 on a +3. This is a broken. Guts roll. No, it's not a broken. The Russians will not break. Okay. It was still nothing for the Germans. Now the Russians. The Russians moved this T-26 here right to the forest and flanks the German Panzer III. Let's see if they got bogged. No. And the Germans, they have still 2 impulse points left. They will now activate Lieutenant Kruger, and he need to change his plan a bit. He wanted to join his comrade. He will drive through the forest and flank the T-26, who tries to flank the other Panzer III. And he hopes he makes a gut roll. Oh no, this is 1. He is gutted. Sorry, I mean bogged. I don't know how I came to the gut roll. He is bogged down. So yeah, but he still can fire. He just can't move, and he is an easier target for others now. And it's the Russians' last impulse point. The Russians, it's very tempting to shoot at Lieutenant Kruger here, but he's at the forest, and this Panzer III with 4 front defense in the forest, it's hard to do any damage. So this T-26 will follow his plan and shoot Panzer III in the back. Okay, first he need to hit. This is difficult enough for him because it's a 7. He moved it's an 8. And he has this special rule. This is a 9. No, he misses. And we got the last impulse point for the Germans. And they need a kill now, or this whole scenario will be very difficult to achieve. Lieutenant Kruger shoots at the T-26 in front of him. He hits at 6, but he moved, so it's at 7. But he's adjacent, so it's 6 again, and he has a leader, so it's 5. He can't miss the shot. He hits it. Okay. Now he has a power of 3. Defense of 2 for the Russian tank, so it's +1. And he is adjacent, so it's +2. Dice roll modifiers -1 for moving fire, +1 for leader, so it's 0. So it's just a +2. Oh. This is absolutely nothing. Yeah, this is very bad luck. Okay. And this was turn 2. So let's look at the situation. It's the end of turn 2. The first kill was from the Russians. Panzer was blown up with a very clean hit at a 12. And else nothing happened. No, this unit was shaken before, and this unit have shaken himself. So the Germans haven't done anything, and this is very bad because they only have 2 turns to destroy everything the Russians have. Also, Lieutenant Kruger is bugged. He will get a free roll to remove the bug status, but if he fails this again, then he will be immobilized in this forest, and this will basically be the end of the game for the Germans because their strongest unit can't hunt down the Russian tanks. Okay, let's hope he gets out.
Will Lieutenant Kruger manage to break free from the forest and lead the German forces to victory with an all-out blitzkrieg-style assault? Or will these woods become his final grave? Find out in the next episode.